Hey guys, welcome back to Arizona Insider. My name is Chip. I'm a native to Phoenix, Arizona. Excited to talk to you today. I'm going to wait until some of you folks are in here, but going to be talking about some of my favorite things about living right here in Arizona on Arizona Insider. I hope to give you a different perspective, a native's perspective on what it's like living right here in Phoenix, Arizona. So again, on today's stream, I'm going to touch on, there's so many things to like about Arizona, but I'm really going to touch on two things specifically, and one of which people don't typically think of this as being a benefit to living in Phoenix or in Arizona. I'm going to be talking about the proximity we are as it relates to like San Diego, Las Vegas, Nevada, Rocky Point, Mexico. So there's a lot of great destinations that are really close to Phoenix that most people don't think about. And also that same proximity, you guys, we have proximity to higher elevations here in Arizona too, or in the Phoenix metro area. So in the summertime, when it's 110 degrees in the middle of August, you can drive 2 hours, be in Flagstaff. So Jelly, how's it going? Welcome back. Yeah, good to see you. Today, just talking about some of my favorite things about living here in Arizona. So, there's a lot to like about Arizona, specifically living right here in the heart of Phoenix. So I'm going to touch on some of those things today and hopefully open it up to Q&A as well. We'll love to have people pick my brain. Matt, I've got some fans, So yeah, lots to talk about on Arizona Insider today. It's good to see some familiar faces in here, but if you're a new subscriber and you're stopping by, it's great to meet you. Great to have you in the chat. But one of my favorite things, you guys, about Phoenix and living in Arizona is how close we are to some great destinations, especially when it's hot as hell here, right? Like, because in once we get it like into June, into mid-June, July, August, September, and obviously most of October, it's hot here. It's really hot here. We'll average 105, 106, maybe even 110 in the August and July months. So if you're going to live here, you got to think of the ways where you can escape that heat, come summertime. And there's a lot of great ways to do it. Locally, I'll touch on that here in a little bit, but what I don't think most people will consider, especially folks coming from the East Coast, maybe you're coming down from Washington, and I'm not just saying that because you're in the chat, Matt. I've been working with some people moving from Seattle, moving from Roy and Gig Harbor, Washington. Actually, all the out-of-state folks I've been talking to and helping move to Phoenix have been coming from Washington. So anyways, there's a lot of people that come from those parts of the country don't really realize our proximity to San Diego, California. While as a Phoenician, it's not really a place I'd ever want to live, but when it's hot as hell here, being able to drive to the beach in a matter of 6 hours, 5.5, 6 hours, depending on how fast you go, it's a phenomenal benefit. And then with the pandemic and it coming to an end, or however you want to describe it, you can get some rooms and some Airbnbs in San Diego for a pretty reasonable price. So I want to show you that proximity. I've been practicing my screen share, you guys. So I'm going to pull up this Chrome tab here, and there you go. So I'm going to share this with you. So there it is. San Diego is all of, shoot, I got the wrong one. San Diego's all of 355 miles and about 5.5 hours of driving. Now, realistically, when you're going to be traveling from Phoenix, you're probably not going to drive straight through. You're going to stop to get gas, stop to get something to eat or drink. So comfortable 6-hour drive, literally from when you leave Phoenix and you'll be on the beach, 6 hours. Obviously, if you live in the West Valley of Phoenix, if you're considering Peoria, Glendale, Avondale, Goodyear, specifically Avondale, Goodyear, and Buckeye, those three Phoenix metro towns are all off the I-10, which is the major road you take out west to hit to San Diego to get to LA. So even from those parts of the valley, it's probably closer to 5 hours. Buckeye might even be under 5 hours to get to San Diego. So really cool having that proximity to the beach. especially if you come out here and you haven't been to the beach. You can drive, you can be in San Diego really quick. So just one of the things I really like, well, this whole proximity. But the other thing, the other place I'll talk to you about is going to be Las Vegas. So, if you haven't been to Vegas, it's an experience, and you can do it like if you're a young buck and you're out there partying and hit the clubs and the casinos. You can just go there for the shows and the nightlife and some of the awesome places to eat. If you haven't been to Vegas, it's somewhere you got to drive literally. So I'll show you Vegas here. Let's see here. So Vegas is, so Vegas is pretty much right at 300 miles and just under 5 hours from Phoenix. And obviously, depending on where in the valley you are, the northern parts of the valley are going to put you closer to Vegas because it's north and west of us. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize this, especially the folks coming from maybe Washington, or especially the East Coast folks moving to Phoenix Metro. They're not really considering this proximity and what's close to us here. So, and then guys in the chat, I'm trying to play some music in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. Never been across the Mississippi. So Brainstorm, I mean, perfect example. Like, been working with folks coming from the Boston area, not Mississippi, but when you come to Phoenix, you think desert life. I'm going to be stuck in the heat, and that's all I'm gonna be able to enjoy is the the cool 6-7 months here. Well, it's not true. When it's hot, you can hit the beach, go to San Diego, spend a weekend there. I prefer to make the San Diego trips at least 3-day weekends because it's a decent amount of driving for just a weekend. But hey, if you can sneak out of work on a Friday, it's definitely worth the drive, especially in the summertime. And then another place too, a lot of people don't consider proximity-wise to Phoenix is going to be Rocky Point, or formerly known as Puerto Penasco. So I'll show you that. I actually pulled up some pictures. So Puerto Penasco is a great, quick, vacation destination in Mexico. And I believe it's a little less than 4 hours. Yeah, just over 200 miles. So 3 hours and 45 minutes to get down to Puerto Penasco. And the great thing about Rocky Point, I'm just going to call it Rocky Point. That's what all the natives call it. Is it's extremely affordable. I mean, you can have really nice hotels, really nice accommodations when you're there at a very good rate. I don't know the rates right now, but it's definitely less than booking time here in even San Diego, and it's a really close drive. You just have to have your passport to get back into the United States. So if you're going to consider this drive and this vacation to Rocky Point, make sure you have a passport. Passport is a must. I'll show you some pictures of Rocky Point. Here we go, Puerto Penasco. Right? Nice. So, I know a lot of young bucks, those under the age of 21, will vacation to Rocky Point because the drinking age is 18 down there. So it was pretty common growing up here, taking trips down there for the partying folks. But again, if you're coming from the East Coast, from north, wherever you're coming from, this is a great vacation spot to go to. So it's Puerto Penasco. And you're right on the water. You really see if we can. Look at these resorts down here. Like, I think I've stayed. I think this is called Bella Serena. This resort I've stayed. It's been about 8 years since I was down in Rocky Point, but staying in a place like this, Bella Serena, I think we paid for like a big 4-bedroom suite. It was only like $250 a night, split between 6 people. So anyways, really nice accommodations and really affordable, and you're literally right on the beach. Now, it's called Rocky Point for a reason. So it's not that Atlantic Ocean soft white sand that you're going to find in the coast, or even the sand that you find in San Diego or on the West Coast in the Pacific. It's definitely, like little pebbles, if you will. So not the best. Where did my camera go? How safe is it to travel there? Hey, Deuces, welcome in. Did I lose my camera here, guys? Oh, there we are. I don't know what the heck going on. Yeah, so Deuces, how safe is it to travel to Rocky Point? I mean, it's safe. I've been down there probably 4 or 5 times. Never had any issues. Uh, there is kind of some unwritten rules. The police down there, they do kind of make their own rules, if you will. So just be on your best behavior, and they won't cause you any trouble. But you definitely, Deuces, you definitely have to have a passport to get back in. But even like when you first come into the entry there into Mexico, it's definitely how do I say it? Kind of like a rougher part of town, if you will, until you kind of get through that first little city and into Puerto Penasco, where you have that kind of beach life, if you will. So it's safe enough, definitely. I even have had family that owned property down there and took their kids that were, 8 to 15, whatever the ages were that they owned property down there. But definitely safe in Rocky Point. But be on your best behavior for sure. Yeah, I would recommend it. Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by. And then another place, unless there's other questions that I wanted to talk to you about, is one of my favorite national parks. Is super close to Phoenix. I don't know if you've ever been to Zion. It's in southern Utah. Yeah, you're welcome, Deuce. Thanks for popping by. Zion. I don't know if anybody's been to Zion. Steve, welcome in. Thanks for popping by. So let me pull up Zion here. National Park. Now, guys, I have some music playing in the background. Can you hear it? I don't know if you can hear the music playing. So yeah, you got to check out Zion. So here's Zion, you guys. You ever heard of the Angel's Landing hike? So really, really pretty hike, and you guys are really close to Phoenix. I mean, it's a drive. Don't get me wrong, but it's about 6 hours, I believe. But so beautiful and worth the drive. Let's show you guys some directions here. Yeah, so Zion, yeah, just over 6 hours. And, amazing with the drive. National Park. Make sure if you're going to go there, you're going to buy your, your national park pass before you go. Plan ahead. But the hike, Angel's Landing, it's an unbelievable hike. It's breathtaking. It's why it's one of our national parks. So super close. Hey, JRs, I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, I appreciate that. Seriously, really do. Yeah, everyone stopping by the stream. I also obviously really appreciate you guys. I love putting out these videos about Arizona. So, but next, so since we covered proximity outside of Arizona, San Diego we touched on Vegas, we touched on Puerto Penasco. So great places to go in the summertime when it's hot as hell here. In that 5-month, 6-month window, the summer here, because remember, in Phoenix, you really have 2 seasons. You don't really have a fall. You don't really have a spring. You have summer and not summer, my opinion. So in those summer months, you gotta be strategic what you do on your weekends. Get the heck out of the heat. Make sure you have a pool, and definitely go explore in the summertime. So I've made videos on a couple of the destinations I'm going to take you to right now, but we're really close. Oh, Just Teresa, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. Just Teresa's another YouTuber that's local here, living in I think you're in the West Valley, Just Teresa. So anyways, just thanks for stopping by. But hey, let's touch on so again, when it's hot, but where can you go living here that's not going to take you 5-6 hours to drive to? So Flagstaff, you guys. Flagstaff. Check this out. Flagstaff from Phoenix is obviously, this distance is going to vary depending on where in the valley you live, because the whole Phoenix metro area is huge. But Flagstaff, you guys, it's less than 200 miles. It's about a 2 hour and 20-minute drive to get to Flag. And if you're living in Phoenix in the summertime, you have to get to Flag. It's 2 hours, and you go from Phoenix is about 1,200 feet of elevation to 7,500 feet of elevation. So you're escaping that heat instantly. About a 25 to 30 degree difference in temperatures in Flagstaff. And especially if you're residing in the north part of Phoenix, I mean, you're less than 2 hours and you're in Flag. So you gotta see Flag and go to Flag when you're living here. So here, let me show you some pictures of Flag. And I haven't been able to do a Flagstaff video on the channel yet. It's definitely in the cards for this summer. We take the wife up there and explore around. But Flagstaff, it's a smaller town. These aren't really ideal pictures I want to show you. Here's kind of a picture of downtown Flag. So you guys, downtown Flag, Flagstaff in general, is about 100,000 people that live in Flagstaff. There's a major university there, one of the 3 major universities here in Arizona, NAU, Northern Arizona University, go Lumberjacks. So you still have some populace there. Like there can still be, not really a rush hour, but you can get some congestion in the major parts of Flagstaff. You have all your major retailers in Flagstaff. There's Costco, Sam's Club, all your major restaurant chains, and then some great local spots, some great local breweries, some great local places to grab a burger and get the heck out of the heat. There's also some great hiking. I'll show you real quick in Flag. So Mount Humphreys in Flagstaff, I think it's at about 14,000 feet, 12,000 feet, excuse me. So Mount Humphreys, you guys, is the highest peak in all of Arizona. And it's a legit gnarly hike. I think from trailhead to the peak, it's like 12 miles. There's a bunch of zigzags, but it feels like 40 miles. It takes forever. You never feel like you're going to get there, but the payoff is amazing. But once you eclipse into those higher elevations of the climb, your last like 30%, the wind is just howling, like almost to the point where it can knock you over. It's crazy. If you're not into the intense hiking, just hit the town, hit the local breweries. Flagstaff's amazing. And then I think most of you are probably pretty familiar with Sedona. But Sedona, you guys, is really quick. It's off I-17, which is the highway you take to Flag. So Sedona is only about, an hour and a half from Phoenix. And absolutely beautiful. So the Red Rocks, as we call it, check this out. So I've made a video on Sedona, but Sedona is a very small town. Population I'll have to check, but it's definitely gotten a lot busier over the years. Lots of tourists going there, especially on the weekends. Sedona is not quite as high in elevation. I think it's right about 4,000 feet. So you can still hit, 105 in the summertime in Sedona. So not necessarily going to escape all the heat by going to Sedona, but it's a must to go see in the late spring months or the, when it's almost summertime, if you will. And then the last one, you guys, I got to state the obvious here. But one of the 7 wonders of the world, you guys, no big deal, is here in Arizona, the Grand Canyon. And it's about 6 hours drive. Let's map it real quick for you. Let me reset this search real quick. If anybody has any questions about, destinations here in Phoenix, proximity to destinations outside of Phoenix, or just questions about living here in Arizona, living in Phoenix Metro, just drop some questions in the comment section. Happy to answer them for you. I'm going to try to start doing these lives a little bit more. So let's map this Grand Canyon here. Now, Grand Canyon's huge. It's grand, right? But let's go give you an idea on the map how far it is from Phoenix. Oh, well, I guess the northern part of Grand Canyon is a lot closer than I remember. 3.5 hours driving, so 2 hours and 200-ish miles, 224 miles. God, I can't talk. It's been a long day. So yeah, really close. And if you're living in Arizona and you haven't seen the Grand Canyon, or if you're coming here to visit and you haven't seen the Grand Canyon, you have to do it, even if it's just to go see it. You don't have to hike it. You don't have to hike in it. You don't have to ride the river. You just have to go see it. And if you're just going to go to a sightseeing destination, I highly recommend going to Horseshoe Bend, which is, really one of the most known destinations just to go sightsee. It's gorgeous. It's where the river and the canyon, they literally bend like a horseshoe. So it's iconic, if you will. But here's Horseshoe Bend right here. A lot of people go here taking pictures. There's my damn cords. Anyways, yeah, the Grand Canyon, if you're just going to go look at it, make sure you go hit a Horseshoe Bend. You ever go to Santa Fe in the summer? JR's, I have not been to Santa Fe in the summer. I spend a lot of time in eastern Arizona, actually. So favorite spot in eastern Arizona, I mean, it's the whole, like the White Mountain area, if you will, which is like Greer, Show Low, Pine Top, is definitely one of my favorite places, and was actually what I was going to talk to you next about. So Pine Top is about 180 miles east of Phoenix. So 3-hour drive, 3.5-hour drive, depending on where in the valley you are. But like Flagstaff, Pine Top sits at a higher elevation. So let's see what maps from Phoenix. So 188 miles, 3 hours and 20 minutes. So, with Pine Top, the big difference between Pine Top and Flag, so the elevation is very similar, right? 7,000 feet and beyond, 8,000 in some of the higher parts. Awesome hiking. But the White Mountains, the big difference is population. Between like Pine Top, Lakeside, and all of Show, there's only about 10,000 people. Flagstaff has 100,000. Flagstaff has the I-40 and the I-17 that cross right through town. It's way more urban in Flagstaff, so you get traffic, if you will. You get some congestion in through the White Mountains. So through Show Low, Pine Top, Lakeside, there's one road. It's the 260 highway. So it's a 2-lane highway. That's it. So all your major businesses, all your major retailers are off that 260 highway. Population of 10,000. So much more small town feel as you go through Pine Top. Darlene, awesome. Thanks for popping by. Great to see you. Yeah, Pine Top, yeah, and Horseshoe Bend. I think you're talking about Horseshoe Bend, Darlene. It's like I was there 3 years ago. When you pull up to it, like it's the epitome of pictures don't do it justice. It's unreal to see that in person. Now, I've done some Grand Canyon hikes when I was younger, so always a great experience to get down in the canyon. So a lot of people don't realize those canyon walls in some places are a mile tall, like legit a mile tall. Think about that. So you got to go check out the Grand Canyon. But Eastern Arizona, you guys, it's one of those great quick destinations here from Phoenix to escape the heat in the summertime. Again, I want you guys to think strategically when you're living here or considering living here, is how to spend the weekends in the summertime. And there's so many great things to go do. See a jelly. So many other great things to do in the summertime. Go explore our great state. And it's not that like Phoenix is like some death trap in the summertime. It's not, but it's hot. So it's a great time to go explore these higher elevation towns, get out of the heat. Because again, Flagstaff and Pine Top, Show Low, I mean, it's a 30-degree difference. So let's talk those temperatures right now. So right now in Phoenix, you guys, it's 90 degrees. Which isn't bad. We still have really cool evenings right now here in Phoenix, pretty much through May. The mornings and the evenings they're cooling down. So to give you an idea, like tonight it's going to get in the high 60s. So beautiful, beautiful weather. And I kind of like the 90s, the low 90s weather. It's warm, but not too warm. But Pine Top, 63 degrees right now. I don't know if you can see that. And they'll get down into the mid 40s tonight. So I actually have my family, part of my family lives up there. So that's why you've seen some videos on the channel about Pine Top Lakeside and getting out there. Superheroes, man, good to see you. JRs, I recently hiked Grand Canyon to the Colorado River. It was incredible. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good to hear. JR, what was the weather like when you were down there? I'd be kind of curious because I've been in there in different times of the year. So were you there like was it April, like recently? And I'd be curious what hike you did or where you entered the canyon. 60 in Pine Top, 90 in Phoenix. Everybody drop a hello to Jackie McMillan. That is my grandma, my amazing grandma. Look at that support for the channel. Grandma, my grandma's coming in the channel. So if my grandma's in the channel, you got to hit the like button. My grandma's literally in the stream, you guys. So good to see you, Gigi. Miss you. Love you. So yeah, JR, I'd be curious what trail you did. Because I've been wanting to get back down there again soon. I won't do it in the summertime unless it involves the Colorado River. But yeah, Pine Top Lakes. Anybody questions right now? Pine Top Lakeside, Eastern Arizona. I'm gonna start doing some coverage on Southern Arizona. I haven't really covered much of Southern Arizona on the channel. Also, so many great places to go explore down in Tucson. Yeah, really just Tucson. The foothills of Tucson are beautiful. So great to go see down there. But Tucson, it's still pretty hot in the summertime, so not a go-to destination. But either way, so many great places to go visit in the summertime to get out of the heat if you're living here in Phoenix. Yeah, and like Danielle and I, my wife and I, we haven't been up to the mountains to Pine Top since January, so it was a warmer winter. They didn't get a ton of snow this year, so yeah, just life's been crazy. Haven't been able to get up there. So here's an April. Oh, you did Bright Angel, man. Bright Angel is unbelievable. But I'd be curious, was it pretty hot when you were there, JR, in April? I mean, it had to have been a little toasty, right? I actually was in Havasupai the summer of 2013. I'll show you Havasupai. If you haven't done Supai, Havasupai Falls. So Havasupai Falls is quite possibly the prettiest piece of nature I've ever seen. This on the screen right now is Mooney Falls. So Havasupai Falls, it's like magical. So you have to book out in advance and reserve your weekend to go to Havasupai Falls. It's at a different part of the canyon where you enter. So it's closer to like a 4.5 hour drive where you park. And then it's just about 13 miles from where you enter to get down the canyon. So you have about 1.5 miles of switchbacks as you get into the canyon, which JR, you probably experienced on Bright Angel. But once you're in the bottom, it's about 12 miles deep in there until you get to these waterfalls. And it's magical. It is. But the reason I went here, JR, to talk about your hike is I was there in June of 13, and it was, man, it was hot. Like the temperature to get down there, and once you're in the canyon walls, the shade kind of cools you a little bit. But the evenings were still warm. Like we had the shades open on the tent. We were barely wearing anything to stay cool. Had cool rags on our head. So I definitely would have wanted to go at a different time of year. Have I been to Temecula? I have not been to Temecula. My father actually has a annual golf trip there with his buddies. They go to Temecula. They do some some winery stuff, and then they play golf for like 3 or 4 days. But I've always wanted to go to Temecula. Also, pretty close to Phoenix. I think Temecula is a little bit north, so it's still going to be. Is it, Jared? Is it a little bit north? Let's find out. Temecula, California. Yeah, so Riverside. So it's a little bit north. This is going to be a longer drive. Not really. Yeah, it's just outside of, in between LA and San Diego. Yeah, the switchbacks. Yeah, so Yeah, those switchbacks, man. And then when we were hiking out in June, that last set of switchbacks to get back out, like there was a group of like 7 of us, and I feel like half of us didn't make it out. Like there was a couple friends that I don't think were prepared for that part, like hydration wise, and it. I mean, everyone was fine, but if Steve's still in here, my friend Steve was on that hike with me, and we had a couple of our lady friends that struggled getting out. They were about to pass the hell out. So yeah, and then Temecula, another great destination. So thanks for bringing that up, JR. Anybody questions? I feel like I've just been rambling for 30 minutes, but I guess that's what I'm supposed to do on these. I don't know why my cord keeps timing out on you guys. I apologize. But if there's not a ton of Q&A, I may have to cut it short. The lady just got home, and the dog keeps going in and out of the room. But yeah, I guess just like a recap for you guys. Anybody that may have just popped in, we were talking about Arizona's. JR, if you can move to any other state. I already know where I'd go. My sister. So my sister, I have 2 sisters, and they were one still living in Sacramento. Long story short, one of them staying there. She's pretty rooted with her career, but my other sister is moving to Dallas, Texas. So, JR, if I were to probably go anywhere, it'd probably be Texas, just for property tax wise, property values, kind of the way that state's run, if you will. Not trying to get like political or anything, but especially where your dollar goes, houses out there. I've got a couple Zillow searches out there, but we're so rooted here family wise, especially with starting a family. The only way my wife would be open to us moving is if direct family were to go out there. I'm like, maybe we start it. But I love living here. But I've definitely always wanted to experience something else. Sorry. No, actually, so like in 2012, JR, I was working a sales position and trying to relocate with them to New York. In or out, dog. The company was hiring for some position. I've always wanted to experience something different, and I had been out there for my training, my corporate training. I was like, man, New York is crazy. It's cool. I might have a different thought on that now as I've gotten older, maybe a little wiser. Darlene in Idaho. Yeah, Idaho is on the top of my list to go visit. And Darlene, help me out. So my wife and I were talking about doing like our baby moon, kind of getting on one last little getaway before the baby comes, and we never really got our honeymoon got canceled because of coronavirus. But there's a place in Idaho that we were looking at, and what is it? It's not like Sun Valley, Idaho. I could holler at her, but it's help me out, Darlene. There's this place in Idaho that we want to go to that we were literally just pricing out to kind of do a last little getaway. Yeah, Deuce's homes are bigger, and just even like the size, like if it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot home, whatever it is, the cost of that home versus Arizona now, and then obviously like California, it's like 150 grand less for the same home. So yeah, Darlene, I would be curious where in Idaho you are. Yeah, I'd just be curious where in Idaho you are. McCall, Idaho. Okay. So I'm going to kind of put that on the spot if that's okay, because I would love to see what the heck McCall, Idaho looks like. Idaho. Oh, yeah, see. Oh, not hotels. Let's just go McCall, everybody. See how far this is. Images. Oh, my gosh. Maybe this looks like, Darlene, I don't think it was McCall, but no, maybe this is what we were looking at. Darlene, is it kind of like a smaller town, right? Mountain Home, yeah. It looks like a mix between Pine Top, Arizona, and Lake Tahoe. You got that small town, but you have the lake in the middle. Yeah, I would totally live in McCall, Idaho. Holy cow. Yeah, and then JR, upstate New York. I've never been there, but yeah, like I heard Buffalo, man, they just get trounced with snow. Um, that's one of the reasons why people move here in Phoenix. So you're never going to shovel snow. Now it's a different story if you're living in the White Mountains or Flagstaff, and they catch a winter storm. I mean, if you got a long driveway, you're going to be shoveling, you're going to be plowing, whatever it is. You got to be prepared to do that in those higher elevations of Arizona. If it's like a wet season, it's the last 2 seasons were pretty dry, so not a ton of snow. Coeur d'Alene, JR. Yes, that is it. Thank you. That is exactly what we were looking at going. 100%. And with like COVID and everything, or the side effects of COVID, it's the prices are awesome right now. Like obviously airfare is cheap, Airbnbs, or even like we were looking at some of the nicer hotels and the prices were like very reasonable. So yeah, Coeur d'Alene. So it looks kind of similar to McCall, Darlene, ish. Oh yeah. My wife sent me this picture. She's like, let's go here. She sent me that golf course green, and I was like, definitely where I want to go. I'm a golf junkie. Salmon, Idaho. All right, guys, we're going on an Idaho tour. Salmon, Idaho. Yeah, small town. Look at that. Yeah, it's kind of looks like looks like Tombstone, Arizona, or even like the early days of Wickenburg, Arizona. Wickenburg is a town here that was a guy named, I think it's Thomas Wickenburg, came out here like in the late 1800s, mining gold and silver in Wickenburg. Must have done all right. The town's still there. Yeah, how far? Let's since we're on the topic of proximity, let me connect the dots here. So let's see how far um, Salmon, Idaho is. So you got to go through Utah. Yeah, snap. That's a drive. But hell, I mean, you guys like. Granted that might be a flight, right? But think about the scenery on that drive from Phoenix through Flagstaff through southern Utah. You could hit Zion, then you go through Salt Lake, all the way up here, and then I don't know much about Idaho, but that would be one hell of a drive, like one hell of a drive that I would definitely do. And I would love to shoot a video because I just love making the damn videos. Biggest sand dunes in the United States. Bruno. Idaho's fast growing percentage wise. Lots of Californians moving there. Yeah. Kind of like Phoenix, JR. I don't know the percentage of Californians moving here, but a 2019 Census Bureau stat, which has probably gone up, but there's 200 people moving to Phoenix every day. And that was from 2019. So I would be safe to assume that number could be around 250 now, maybe more. Yeah, about 250 people moving to Phoenix every day, every single day. And real estate wise, that's caused it's caused craziness here. And you can navigate the craziness. I love helping people do that, but that kind of demand, and then real estate inventory in Phoenix is like super low right now, like historically low. So it creates low supply and a ton of demand and a lot of competition when trying to buy a house here. So you got to be prepared for that. But anybody have questions? Any questions about like proximity? Again, I know it's kind of my main focus here. One of my favorite things is that proximity that living in Phoenix has to, San Diego, Las Vegas, the northern parts of Mexico. You get away for really cheap, and then all the local getaways. And there's, I've lived here my whole life. There's places here in Phoenix in Arizona that I still haven't seen, and they're on my list to go do or to go hike or to make a video. Like back in October, we went backpacking in Havasupai Canyon. I legit had never even heard of Havasupai Canyon, and I was a Boy Scout growing up here in Arizona, so I did a lot of outdoor activities, a lot of camping, a lot of hiking. And maybe it's just because I've gotten old and I maybe I heard it and I don't remember, but Havasupai, I literally never heard of it. It was an amazing experience. Yeah, Roosevelt Ave in Phoenix. Yeah, so biggest sand, yeah, they're blowing up everything. Yeah, Darlene, it's I think the real estate frenzy is going on a lot of places right now, and there's a lot of drive, and I'm not going to get into this, but I think a lot of people leaving certain states to come to others, however that applies. But yeah, then J.R. Roosevelt, that part of town, that downtown kind of midtown area, has had a lot of money invested into it over the last 10 years. Shoot, even going back 15 years. So Arizona State University has their downtown, their Polytechnic campus down there. There's dorms down there. There's student housing, same difference, but there's a lot of apartments down there for students, and there's a lot of like urban living. My damn camera. Yeah, so a lot of new restaurants going in down there. But JR, not the one thing, but one of the many things I really like about downtown, a lot of the businesses, a lot of the retail, a lot of the restaurants, they're family owned places. You get a lot of family owned places that have been there for a while. So you get a lot of unique dining and nightlife and lifestyle down there, and it's become very urban. So if you live down there, you can walk pretty much to wherever you need to go. Obviously, unless you have a office job that's not down there, you're gonna have to commute, but you have everything you need in walking distance down there. So it's pretty cool to see that growth, because my opinion, in the early 2000s and in the 90s, people weren't wanting to live in downtown Phoenix. It wasn't really like a hot spot, if you will. So this is definitely an evolution that has come through Phoenix Metro, is the downtown evolution. Obviously, we have the baseball and the basketball team, the Phoenix Suns. Let's go playoffs! First time in the 11 years they play downtown. And then the Diamondbacks, Arizona Diamondbacks, they play downtown. The arena and the stadium are like pretty much butt up next to each other. Diamondbacks are struggling. Suns are kicking some ass. So it's awesome to see. And then, yeah, Vulture City and Wickenburg. See, I've never been to Vulture City. I've definitely been in Wickenburg a bunch. Yeah, I actually love Wickenburg. It doesn't get a lot of praise. I mean, it's a drive-through town. There's a lot of places, like if you're going to Vegas, you typically drive through Wickenburg. There's almost everyone stops to get gas in Wickenburg. But it's a really cool place. A lot of cool places to eat. The downtown's cute, if you will, for shopping. Take the lady, bounce around in there, and then some of the most amazing golf courses in the valley, and literally even in the country, out there in Wickenburg. Quintero Golf Course is award-winning, an amazing golf course. Yeah, and the Mexican restaurants down there. Yeah, JR, appreciate you. Devin Booker, don't get me going on the sports stuff. This is not a sports channel. I know it's an Arizona channel, but don't get me going on those sports, because I'm a sports nut. And if you're a local to, or if you're a native Phoenician, or if you're not a native Phoenician, us natives have not had a lot to root for sports wise. The D-backs had a 3-year window in the right at 2001 when they World Series, but I think they're literally still paying for that championship, which I'm not complaining. It was literally the only professional championship that has ever been in Phoenix. Actually, well, in the WNBA, the Mercury, I think they've won maybe 3 or 4 titles, but those, not discrediting women's sports, but the major sports teams, nothing here. Cardinals have been close. You get close, man, it's just a teaser every time. But really like what the Cardinals are doing. Yeah, I'll definitely Vulture City. It's going on the list, my friend. I got to make a video about Vulture City. Vulture City. It's coming up. And guys, too, I like doing these lives. I like to come in here and interact and take questions. But I'll admit, my life, professionally and personally, has had an influx of a requirement of my time and attention. So if I can't get a video out, I want to at least come in and provide some good Arizona content and go live. Again, I've never really done lives consistently. I don't necessarily had felt that confident doing them. So anyways, Ruby, hey, welcome in. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, Jared, definitely going to Vulture City. Like, It's on the list, 100%. I'm not a Cardinals fan, but I hope they make the Super Bowl game. Like, yeah, love Kyler Murray, love all their offseason acquisitions. So, yeah, thanks, Ruby. Really want to start talking more about Arizona, everything Arizona. You know what it's like to live here. Today we were talking about proximity, how close Phoenix is to the beach in San Diego, how close it is to Vegas if you want to get your party on. It's really close. Yeah, Deuces, no problem, man. I appreciate the support. I do. When I started this whole YouTube thing, I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did the creative process. I've invested a ton of money in equipment, camera gear, editing software, drones, like you name it. I've really drank the Kool-Aid, but I love doing it. I literally love doing it. And I don't want to say it doesn't stink, but the amount of time I've been able to put into it lately with my job, I kind of have two jobs. I'm back in school full time, and then getting ready to start a family. So I got to be very strategic with my time. So once I'm off this, I got homework to do. So yeah, it's so I want to at least do these, come interact and talk about Arizona. Ruby, I'm not sure. I'd have to check. I know I'm still probably like at least 1,000 hours short from hitting that monetization. But yeah, it's been cool to see the channel grow. You especially when you love doing this stuff and you put the work in to make it. It's cool to see people follow along. Like it's kind of addicting, not gonna lie. So I kind of panic sometimes when I don't have a video to come out. So cold beers and cheeseburgers, 100% JR. However, not my favorite burger place. If anybody asks me if I want to go grab a beer and a cheeseburger at Cold Beers, count me in, 100%. But not my favorite place. It's a great atmosphere, great burgers, but probably my favorite burger joint. It's not even really a place you're gonna go to like have cocktails or whatever, have like an actual dinner like you would at Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers. It's a formal restaurant. You got all the TVs, you got waitresses. Anyways, Paradise Valley Burger Company, JR. If you haven't been, it's a little hole in the wall spot that's been on diners, drive-ins, and dives. Am I saying that right? With Guy Fieri, and they have some of the best burgers ever. It's definitely my go-to. Ruby, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. It's taken some getting used to, but I started out using iMovie on my laptop, and you can only do so much with iMovie. But it's a great place to start iMovie because you could learn all the basic functions, how to do transitions, overlay graphics. But it's definitely limited compared to Adobe. But the thing with Adobe, you got to make sure your computer has either the video card or the processor to support it because it takes a massive bandwidth. I don't even know if bandwidth is the right word, but it uses a lot of your computer's horsepower. So yeah, I had to do some upgrading there. But hey guys, I think I'm getting close to wrapping it up unless anybody has another question maybe about summer stuff to do here, even locally when it is hot. I guess I could talk to you about that a little bit. The difference in the summer in Phoenix, like if you're not gonna escape the heat, if you will, is you can still do outdoor activities. You can still hike. You can still go bike here in the summer in Phoenix Metro, but you just got to beat the sun. So talking like a 4:45, 5 a.m. start right when that sun's about to peak out, you definitely have some 80-degree temps for like an hour and a half. And then once that sun's up, boom, the 90s to the hundreds really quick. And the thing that in the summertime that really keeps it hot, you guys, is obviously the longer amount of direct sunlight. But that direct sunlight bakes into the asphalt, and that asphalt just like doesn't cool down that much in the summertime. So it just kind of like radiates and keeps it warm. So I haven't been. We drove through Paradise Valley, cities like Beverly. Yes, dude, PV. I think you described it perfectly. Like legit, like Paradise or like Beverly Hills. Thing about Paradise Valley too, the minimum lot. There's no lot under an acre, so you have big lots, big houses. It's a non-HOA development, so meaning every house is unique, like very unique, and you have homes. I think probably the lowest point of entry in PV right now is probably $1.5 million, maybe $1.25 million, and that could be for something that is dated from like the late 70s or the 80s to some of your crazier builds that surpass $20 million. I mean, like mansion compounds on 10 acres and 25,000 square foot homes, like crazy homes. I don't even know how, I can't even fathom, having a house like that or why you would, but to each their own. Yeah, then some of the northern parts of Scottsdale, JR, very similar to PV2. So gorgeous homes, always worth a drive through. And then next time you're here, drive through the Arcadia area. Same really cool part of Phoenix, ton of character, and same with Central Phoenix. So, I'm not knocking the newer subdivisions here in Phoenix. I kind of live in one of those subdivisions, an HOA subdivision where, your houses can only be a certain shade of paint or you have to get them approved. No, the homes are different, but they all kind of have a similar feel, right? But like in Central Phoenix, the Arcadia area, Paradise Valley, these older neighborhoods before, I don't know why my thing keeps bugging out. Don't have HOAs. So they're all the homes are different. Now, granted, when those subdivisions were first built, you did have a lot of the same builders that came through, but they didn't build like they do now. They all look so different. And then, in the Central Phoenix PV and Arcadia area, like half those houses have been completely renovated or even just completely bulldozed and built new. Just they want to be in that part of town, so they buy up the house, the lot, and then build up new. So yeah, Darlene, I really appreciate you stopping by. It's great to meet you on the live. Try to start doing more of these, so thank you. Yeah, Ruby, iMovie, there's nothing wrong with iMovie. I think iMovie is great, but there's a lot more you can do with Adobe, and I will tell you this: when you switch over to Adobe, there's a learning curve. It kind of overwhelmed me at first, but you figure it out. There's YouTube videos for everything. So, yeah, Darlene, I think I bought this like cord, so every other time I've live streamed, I just do it on the camera on my computer. But I have a nicer, camera that I shoot my videos with. So I bought the cord that allows me to stream from my actual camera. And I think that cord just keeps toggling in and out. So technical issues, what the hell? So, yeah, and Ruby, how hot? We'll average probably like, I should probably know this because I'm a native, but I bet 109 is the average through the summer, with highs as 115s like really hot. We have had records in the high 118s, and I think 120s happen every 5 years or so. But it's, every day in the summertime is definitely in the hundreds. It's a dry heat here, so big difference here with the heat versus like in Florida or in the South is the humidity. You get similar heat in Florida, but you get 70-80% humidity mixed with that heat. It's like you're suffocating. And I'm not knocking Florida, but here the heat's completely dry, which there's pros and cons. Like some people come out here for the dry heat because of their allergies, but also that dry heat can also, like my wife and I have a humidifier in our bedroom because of that dry heat. Like you get like cotton mouth, because it's so dry. Sometimes you'll wake up with a bloody nose. And that's not saying that's going to happen to you or everyone, but it happens to us, and definitely can happen with the dryness. So humidifier, good investment if you're going to live here. Yeah, Darlene, have a great day. Come stop by the next one. I'm going to try to go live again next week. I don't really have a specific day and time I'm going to do this. I'm just trying to find a date in the middle of the week that aligns with my schedule, and then at least give like a 2 or 3 day heads up. But my schedule is always evolving. But yeah, try to do these at least once a week. And I've been trying to get the wife on because I would love to have her come back on. When we started doing live over the summer, she would come on. She's just, with the baby coming, she's just not super keen on it. Hopefully I'll twist her arm one time because she gives another perspective too. The lady's perspective here and living in Phoenix, and the things that she likes to do and the things that are unique to her. So I want to get her on to talk about those with you guys. I can only look at my mug as long as you want. I can't talk. You can't look at my mug that long, so get the wife in because she's beautiful. I'm biased, but yeah. And Ruby, I forget what part of the U.S. you're in. I forget. And Jr., where's home for you right now? I'd be curious where you're located. But anybody new popping in, just want to give a quick recap on the video. I've been going. Shoot, I can't believe I lasted this long. But I'll cut it off at an hour. But we were talking about. So if you go back and watch the stream, we were talking about really the proximity that Phoenix has to other destinations and great ways to escape the heat. So proximity to California, so San Diego, LA, it's like a 5.5 hour drive. Ditch the heat in the summer. Vegas is still hot, but if you want to get your party on, Vegas is like a 4 hour drive. It's really close, more like a 4.5 hour drive. We talked about Mexico. Ruby, that's right, you're in Chicago. I've never been to Chicago. Need to go to Chicago. Oh, and Boston. Yeah, JR, I never been to Boston. 2 places I would love to go to, man, Darlene, Idaho, JR, Boston, Ruby, and Chicago. You guys, if I come out there, you're going to have to give Danielle and I some pointers on where to go and what to see. Definitely places I want to go. Joe, what's up? Business, Mr. Belong, what's going on? Great to see everybody. Some of my subscriber friends I've been connected with on here for a while. Great to see you guys pop in. Support is always appreciated. But yeah, guys, if you have suggestions on what you'd want to talk about on the next live or what you'd want me to talk about, I'm open for suggestions. I tried to plan this with the proximity and kind of have a prepared content, but oftentimes when you interact, it just kind of goes a certain way. So I do like that as well. Just having the organic flow to this. Fenway Park. Oh my God, I would love to see Fenway Park. Grew up playing baseball, a little league, and in high school. Baseball career stopped after that, but would always love to go to Fenway. Absolutely. I've only ever been to Rocky Stadium is the only other. Rocky Stadium and Jacobs Field in Cleveland where the Indians play. Those are the only other 2 baseball stadiums I've ever been to. Arizona food. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good one. That's a really good one, Mr. Long. So I will do the next one. Literally, that'll be the next one. We're going to just talk about all the I'll tell you all my favorite places and the top spots to eat. We'll do some screen sharing, showing. I guess I can stop that. Showing all the awesome places to eat here because Phoenix's dining and nightlife. I'm biased, but it's one of the best. As being of those, it's a big metro. You have all the major chains, but the heart of Phoenix has a lot of great family-owned businesses, some great places to eat. So, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I really do appreciate everyone stopping by. If you haven't already, consider hitting that thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And until next time, my name is Chip. I appreciate you stopping by Arizona Insider, and have an awesome evening. Take care, guys. I really appreciate it.